If you've ever wanted to try resin art but don't know where to start, this video will show you exactly what you'll need to get going. Today I'm going to show you the basic supplies you need, how to mix resin, and even how to do what's called a dirty pour. Hi, I'm Christina. I've been an artist my whole life, and for the past 4 years I've focused on resin art. I work right here in my garage studio. It's nothing fancy, but it's where I can create, learn, and experiment. And you don't need a professional studio to get started. You just need the right supplies and the right guidance. So first things first is you want to put on gloves because resin gets so messy and it ends up getting everywhere. So always wearing gloves around resin is a good practice. And you want to get your resin. This is actually from TEMU, but it's 2 gallons of resin I get for like $60. And I'll leave a link in the description. You can also get it from Amazon, I think for $66, a different kind. But these are nothing fancy, but they work great, and they're still non-yellowing and crystal clear and everything. So I love working with them. And something else that's very important is just having popsicle sticks ready. I have these normal size ones, which I use all the time. And then I have some bigger ones that I use sometimes as well. Cups are something else. So you want to have a bunch of red Solo cups. That's where you're going to mix the resin. And then also these size cups are great. You can pour different colors in here and then pinch the end so you can direct where the resin's going. And then usually at the Dollar Tree, I get this size as well, just in case I'm mixing a smaller batch of resin. These work really well. Now, what you're gonna need is colorant. So there's different ways to color your resin. Let me show you what I have. So you got your mica powders. A long time ago, I bought this Arteza one on Amazon, and it's just lasted me. I go to it a lot if I'm looking for a random color. But you have bright pinks, bronze, and these are all nice powders. Well, that one's not open yet. And then I also have this starter package of mica powder. And like some of these, this is almost totally gone. That's one of my favorite colors. It's a nice teal. And mica powders have a different result, different mixture than the resin pigments and the resin dyes. And that's something you'll learn as you continue using resin. But they all can be used for different purposes. I have this pack from Amazon of epoxy resin pigment paste. And it's just all sorts of different colors. These are really convenient. Like if I need a little color or I want to mix my own color, I just squirt these in there. And then this is a set of resin dyes. So as well, if say I'm mixing a yellow, I want it to be a little more orange, I can just add a few drops of orange. I like using dyes, they're pretty cool. And also I have these different mica powders once you get a little more fancy. These are probably $15 a pop, but the colors are super nice. And then these I love. These are my favorite, is using resin pastes. I just find that the color is the most, it's strong and vivid. That's a Tiffany blue. And you just have to take a popsicle stick and take a little bit and put it into the resin. So starting out, I would get a cheap set of the mica powders that you can do so many things with. And you don't need to splurge on the resin paste yet. That'll just happen down the line. Something else you'll want eventually, and we're gonna use when I do the dirty pour, but it's called alcohol ink. And these are so cool to work with. They come in little bottles like this. And if you lay out different colors of resin and drop the ink onto it, it does all these really cool effects. So we're gonna do a dirty pour where we mix different colors of resin, pour them into a cup with drops of alcohol ink, and then pour that onto a wood panel. So this is a wood panel that I've already prepared. And I primed it, because you don't want to just work on bare wood. You want to make sure it's primed and smooth. And I actually taped off the back, because if you don't tape off the back, what happens is the resin just pours off the sides and then drips. And you'll have dried resin drips just coming off the piece. So after you do your piece, you'll see the drips, but then you take a heat gun to heat up the tape and you peel it off. And that's kind of like a hack. So you'll need a surface. I also use large wooden panels, but this is a small one that'll be good. Oh, here is something so important any resin artist needs, is a level. The worst thing you can do is not make sure the piece is level before you pour the resin, and it all ends up just pouring off the side. I made that mistake so many times, but I definitely learned from it. Something else that's so important is, well, if you have a heat gun, that works fine. You can heat up the resin afterwards, after you pour it, and get all the bubbles out. But a lot of people, and I started doing, is using a torch, which works really good. I love this thing. And you just go over your piece and all the little tiny bubbles pop. There's also other things you can do with the torch, but it heats up the resin so it moves more freely. This is also really important. I have 99.9% isopropyl alcohol. You can spray this right on top of a piece at the end, and that gets the bubbles and stuff out. But also I just use it to clean things. When I get resin on them before it's dried, spray it on there. There's not many things that gets resin out, but alcohol does work. So tape is something that you'll need. Like I showed you, you can tape off the back of your panels, and that works really well. You can also tape off the sides of the panels, and that way the resin doesn't drip off the sides at all, and it allows you to control where the resin is going more. When you just allow the resin to pour off the sides, it's kind of just going wherever it wants. So taping them off can help too. And a lot of the supplies that you do need, you can get at the Dollar Tree. Like, of course, I get my popsicle sticks at the Dollar Tree. I get these shower curtains that I go through. I get tarps. I get all sorts of stuff. But I do have a video that I made that goes through all the supplies you can get at the Dollar Tree that are for resin. So that might be helpful. I'll put the link in the description. And I'll put all the products that I talk about in the description too. Now, if you get into making resin geodes, which is what I love doing, you're gonna need glass, which you get fire glass. And this is a 1/4 inch thick. And you can put this directly on your piece. You can put clear resin over it. And it just is really beautiful and sparkly. But you can get different sizes of glass, different colors. It's really fun to work with glass. Now, I don't know if you can see my Lazy Susan I have here, but this is where the magic happens. And where I pour my resin. But what I found works amazing is these things that I got on TEMU. See, they even come right out of the resin too. But you get 4 of them. And basically they start like this, and you see if the piece is level, and then if it's not, and you need to put it up on one end, you just take that corner and push it up, and you just turn them all until your piece is really level. It's super convenient. Now that you've seen all the supplies you'll need, you're ready to start working with resin. In part 2, I'll walk you through how to mix resin the right way and how to do a simple dirty pour. So definitely check out Resin for Beginners part 2. I've linked it here and in the description below. That's where the fun really starts.